Hello, I'm Liao. Welcome back. We've been making Svelte routing libraries for the past few videos. If this is the first video you are watching, I have prepared the link in the description. You can go and watch them because we have come such a long way. We've able to do some basics route matching, and then we intercepted all anchor tags so that when you click on the link, it uses history API to navigate around. And then we do dynamic loading for your components. So each page, we only dynamic load that page content when you navigate to a new URL. And lastly, in the last video, we've shown how you can add a loading indicator so that when you navigate around, and if the network is bad, because we load the content dynamically, right? So if the network is bad, while waiting for the content to be loaded, you see a loading indicator at the top of your app. And once the loading is done, then you see the page will be updated with the latest content. Right? So what else to be done here? I think I gave a sneak peek on the previous video, where this video we're going to talk about dynamic routes, dynamic parameters to be exact. What does that mean? Well, take a look over here, an example here in our routes. Let me open up my routes. In routes, we define URLs as a fixed value, right? //b/c. What if you want to have something like this, where you can have maybe shop and then / and shop ID. So this part of things is dynamic. What if we want this to be dynamic? So that you can visit shop 1, shop 2, shop /123. Let me type that out. Shop 123, shop 456. You want all this to match to this URL, right? So how do we do that? Well, we're gonna explore that in this video. Sorry to jump in, but I got an important thing to tell you, which is that if you're following along, coding along with me, the code for all this is on the GitHub repo. Link in the description. Just follow along. If you miss any steps, each changes are in individual commits. So you can just check out that commit and take a look at what you are missing. Now follow along. So if you remember how our route matching logic works, we compare the current path name with the URL, right? We compare path name with the URL. But in this case, if we have shop 123, then this is not equals to this shop /shop ID, right? It has to match exactly the same string. So meaning this is not a string anymore. This is like a description of a URL pattern that we need to match. So we have to figure out how to convert this to maybe a function that takes in a path name and returns whether it's true or false, right? We need something like this so that we know whether the current URL matches this. And one way of doing this matching, I can think of one simple way, is to use a regular expression. So maybe we can convert this to a regular expression that looks like this, /shop. Maybe we have to start with this, and with a /, this is escaping the / then shop, and then maybe we match anything over here. Then this has to end. Okay, this has to end like this, right? Maybe we can convert this string into this regular expression. So we have to write this logic to convert this string to this regular expression in our routing library. And to come to think about this, I feel like since we are going to build a file-based routing, which means that we are going to have creating a folder in future, we're gonna have our file-based router where it will be, when we have this folder and then this as a file, it will convert this to a routes definition file. Then in that way, I feel like maybe we can have this logic where we converts this file that you have into a regular expressions in our file-based in the code that generates this route's definition. So which means that the user does not have to load. The reason of why I'm thinking about this is that so that the user doesn't have to load this logic in their browser, right? So in a file-based router, it's during the build time when we generate the route's definition, it runs on your build machine or your pipeline or your deployment scripts, right? So that script is not shipped to user, and that script, we use that script to analyze this file name and then generate these regular expressions, and we ship these regular expressions to the user. Then in that way, then the user doesn't have to have that code, right? Because the user will just receive these regular expressions and use this to match the routes, right? So I think we can do that. So in this video, probably we're gonna slightly simpler now because we don't have to, we shift this responsibility of converting this string to a regular expressions to a future video. And hopefully that's something that you'll be looking forward to. So in that case, then now we can, whoa, there's too many hovers. So in that case, in this video, we're gonna turn this into regular expressions. We're gonna turn all the URL to regular expressions, right? So we're gonna turn this to regular expressions. So there's a slash to escape this, right? Like this. Let's have a slash. This, and then this is matching anything. Of course, we have to match exactly. This will match any path that has just a slash, so that's not what we want. So it has to start with this and ends with this as well, so that it matches exactly this slash, right? Of course, now our type definition, our route URL will be different. It will be a regular expressions. Yep, so we can keep everything the same. Now come over here. Let's no throttling. So come over here. Now the way we do the comparison will have to change URL, right? We over here in our mesh route, we do route URL equals to the path name. This is a string, right? This is a string. But the URL is a regular expressions, which is incorrect. So we're gonna use the test, the path name. Hopefully that works. Let's see. Let's try to go to the home page, right? We match with A. Let's try to go with shop 123, which match to C, which is correct because we use the route C over here in this case. Yep, and then we can, basically match this routes with a regular expressions. Right. So in the meantime, let me create another file called a shop file, shop.svelte, which is a shop over here. Hold on, let me see. Okay, so here we have our shop. Whoa, where's our route? We have our shop. We use our shop over here. So that now if you go to a shop 123, it's showing a shop. 456, it's gonna shop. But if I go to something like shop, then this does not match, right? We still have to have the second part of the URL path name, right? So everything still works. But I want to have this, the second part, which is the ID, like shop 123. I want to have this shop ID somewhere available so that I can read it out from my components. And maybe I just need it as maybe like the props, right? So in our shop over here, maybe I create a script called export let shop ID, shop ID. I want this value to be populated with the shop ID that I have over here, like this. So how do we do that? Of course, the next thing is we need to figure out, like, we have to change our regular expression somehow so that this matches the parameter, right? So this, we have to capture this, we have to make this, we have to turn this into a capture group. And then of course we have to make that capture group to have a name so that we know when we capture this, it is named after a parameter called shop ID, right? And I think I should leave this for you in the next video so that you can think about it, how you want to write this out, and I'll meet you in the next video.